recording. Hi, this is the Tuesday, June 28th Jupyter Dev meeting.
All right. What would people like to discuss from the notes that you've put on the hackpad? Pete, is there anything that you want to bring to our attention or discuss?
No, nothing other than what's there. Nothing major this week.
One comment about Peter's stuff is that the PR about dashboards, I started commenting and I have another round of comments in half finished in an open GitHub tab. But it would be, yeah, if anybody else has comments on the dashboard work, it would be just a reminder that graduation proposal is open by Peter and Gino and their team, and so it would be good to have feedback from others on that. I don't know if anything has come up interesting there for you, Peter. Any substantial changes that you've seen? I have a few things on, but it's mostly on the structure of the repo that I think would be good to do before we merge it. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with the work itself. Has there been anything that has elicited kind of major changes for you on the technical side?
As far as comments on the PR or in general, you mean?
Well, I was thinking comments on the PR, but I haven't seen too much activity there. Yeah. So if from any other sources, that's okay too.
Yeah, no, nothing there yet. Like you said, I think you're the main commenter so far. So just waiting for feedback. I know we just put it out, so as it comes in, we'll definitely address it. I think, taking the kernel gateway as an example, after it graduated, we went and actually created the read the doc site with Carol's help, and cleaned up a lot of the doc strings and things like that. So I don't doubt a lot of that's going to happen here too. Right?
Okay. Well, I mean, if there's some of that work is obviously work that we want to do. For example, one of my comments was actually going to be that it would be good to have an actual doc, even if it's not visible on Read the Docs right away, but beginning to put a Sphinx build in place and a proper docs directory. And I think we want to encourage projects to begin building documentation as part of the development process, not as something that happens much later. So sure. That's something that is good practice pretty much right away. And we want that to become a kind of routine activity across the project.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, if we need to do that before the PR goes in for, saying it's accepted or not, no problem, right? I knew that was going to be on the radar anyways, given that, all the other Jupyter projects have it. We'll probably have to work with Carol about what it means to write, user-facing doc for an extension. I'm not sure that's a whole read the doc site or something, but it's an interesting new case, I guess.
Yeah.
So while we're speaking about documentation, do we want to use the Jupyter theme? And if so, can we have some spare cycle in actually fixing the theme? So Jupyter Sphinx themes has a few. I don't know if you see me because I cannot see the back camera. Where am I?
Somebody with front-end experience, if they have cycles to do work on the theme, I think that would be great. Right now, I have 0 cycles between the interns and the other stuff.
So what are the fixes needed on the theme?
There is a huge issue with hundreds of things to fix, which are not hard, but just have to be done.
Okay.
Like basically, if you want to use a theme right now in a specific repository, you have to overwrite half of the templates.
Okay.
So it's not.
So we had discussions before. We had discussions with John on the theme some time ago, and we were saying that when people go to read the docs, they expect to see the read the docs theme, even though we may need actually to add some things for the widgets to work in the read the docs and all. I mean, the visual aspect should probably be what people see usually on read the docs, and the Jupyter theme would be a better fit for self-hosted documentation on the Jupyter website.
A better fit for what? I couldn't understand that last sentence.
Jupyter hosted, like something on Jupyter.
Yeah, self-hosted. Self-hosted documentation on the Jupyter website.
Well, actually, a lot of if we move all the stuff that we have on Read the Docs to using a Jupyter theme, then that's consistent with general practice of other groups, because really Read the Docs is just hosting it. And John was working towards getting a theme for that. And obviously he's not with us anymore. And the cycles that he was going to have at Cal Poly in the short term, those went away. So basically somebody needs to be tasked who's a front-end developer with doing the theme. And that's certainly not me.
So
I can help, but
the Read the
There
Docs
is a
theme
lot of
itself
code on
is something that a lot of people work on and fix on a daily basis, and it works great on multiple platforms, mobile device. I don't think we have the cycles to do something that is clearly better than what they have. I mean, they are doing a really good job already, and so
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of that sentence. Sylvan, when you say they, you mean, are you talking about the standard Read the Docs one?
yeah, I think we should use that.
Okay. I don't have any. Go ahead, Carol.
I was going to say this needs to be a separate discussion. I don't think we're going to resolve it here. I think Brian needs to be part of the discussion, and he's not here. I think what we have is what we have now. If we want to go back and do Jupyter/Jupyter as a Read the Docs theme, I'm cool with that. But it's really not my decision solely to make, and I need somebody who has the authority to say, hey, this is what you're working on, to kind of balance the load.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and this is certainly not a suggestion that the load is on you, Carol, by any means.
So just saying that even there's a technical thing here, though, is that even if we do decide to go with a Read the Doc theme, we will actually need to fork it for certain features that we added. So it would be essentially the Read the Docs plus tweaks and all. But I mean, Read the Docs works great on even my Android phone, and it's not the case of the current theme. So do we have the cycles for this?
So we might want to contact Eric Olscher from Read the Doc and say, hey, we have these things with widgets. Can we have maybe push the Read the Docs themes forward and add the ability to have widgets?
Well, they're already pluggable, so we don't really need that.
Okay, but I think as Carol said, we're probably not going to reach a conclusion on this. So one question is, it seems like we have folks like Sylvan who has looked into this, and Matthias, and Carol, and myself. I'm very interested and exercised about the quality of our documentation. So should we open an issue about this?
I think we should either push the themes forward or revert it to the Read the Doc themes. But the current one the current state is bad.
Yeah, but as an action item, because we're not going to have this whole discussion right here, let's open an issue on which repo. I guess it would probably be the Jupyter one, which is kind of the parent one. Maybe summarizing these points, and then the people who are interested can then try to work through on that issue, and that subset we can try to schedule a separate discussion to find a solution, so that we don't block this conversation for too long. How does that sound? Okay.
I'm opening.
You're opening the issue? Okay.
I can set up a meeting, try to wrangle Brian into it too, so everybody can be in the same room. After folks have kind of made their notes.
And we can start. And we can start trying to have the discussion on the GitHub issue itself, so that it's publicly recorded and whatnot. We can meet face to face if we need. But we can start by using GitHub for the discussion.
Yeah, it might be useful for people to just record in GitHub what they think the requirements of the documentation are. Maybe you guys went through this before I started, but it sounds to me like maybe the team needs to normalize on what we want the documentation to do technically, be able to be used on the iPhone, all that stuff, and then also with the content. So if you could just be as detailed as possible with those types of facts, I think that would help pull the conversation through.
That's a good point. And this has happened in a bit of an ad hoc way, and it's obvious that it's time to sort of organize the problem and and find a solution forward, whichever that is. Also, so that because I want to balance the fact that individual teams at least have a way of beginning to write, even if it's with a very basic thing set up, themes aside, just writing the basic content and move forward with that, so that folks like Pete are not blocked. I mean, there's no reason why Pete and Gino and their team should be blocked on this question. But at the same time, that it doesn't feel like basically we're just applying all the pressure on Carol to find a solution to this, which is not the case, by the way, Carol, just in case that wasn't obvious, that I don't think that this is your problem by any means.
Yeah, we need to kind of work together, like kind of all move forward together on this. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So, okay, I'll set up a meeting for all of us. I can start that GitHub issue too.
Yeah, Matthias is creating it now.
Okay, Matthias.
If you can add 176.
So
Jupyter 176.
Okay, so I think I was next, yeah, the only thing to discuss really is that I think we're all more or less set for the July 22nd mini workshop. We've reached out to a few people who have done Jupyter Hub related things, or have mentioned that they have deployments on the mailing list. We still have 1 or 2 slots available. So if anybody thinks that they have either in-house or a colleague, or they know someone who has a Jupyter Hub deployment who might be willing to give a 10-minute lightning talk, let us know. And otherwise, we'll just happen July 22nd. And we've decided to keep things simple, to host it on Zoom or BlueJeans, which can take up to about 50 people or 100. We'll see what the account can do simultaneously, rather than gambling with Hangouts on air. But let us know if we have anyone in mind. But otherwise, we more or less have a schedule, and we'll try to keep it simple on the 22nd. Darian, is there anything that you want to discuss with the group, that in addition to what's on the notes?
No, I'm just carrying on with what I wrote in there. There's nothing I need to talk about. Although we had that issue that I opened last week about the console icon. I'd really like to get that in soon so that we can put on the landing page, but the issue's already open and people are assigned to it, I think.
Okay. Jason, anything that you want to discuss with the group?
No, I think we're good. We continue having good conversations in Jupyter Lab dev meeting, and we have notes from those. So follow up on that if you want to dive more deeper into the Jupyter Lab progress. But yep, we're good.
Carol, anything in addition to the docs that you want to discuss with the group?
Yeah, I'm good. Nope, nothing new.
All right. Steve?
Nothing to report. All's good.
Sylvan, I think you're next. Anything that you want to bring up for discussion, ask for help?
No broker.
Report, kind of update people on?
I'm good. Thanks.
Gino, same question.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I joined a little bit late, maybe Pete already mentioned, but waiting for more comments on the PR for graduating declarative widgets. And other than that, just fixing bugs and business as usual.
Okay, no, actually, we talked about the dashboard one, but I'd forgotten that, yes, the declarative widgets one is also there. Yes, feedback from folks on both of those would be very welcome. Thomas, you're last. Anything that you want to bring up for discussion, questions, participation from others, input from others?
No, I think it's all what's in the hackpad.
Okay. And were you happy overall with the workshop? Did it go well from the Jupyter side in particular?
Yes, it was. I think our materials for next year should definitely include sort of more of an on-ramp. I hadn't really twigged that some of the some of the participants had really never programmed before the workshop, so they'd had one day of an introductory Python and Git course, software carpentry materials, before coming to us. So we were definitely throwing them in at the deep end with some of the exercises, but all the feedback we got on it was positive.
Okay, good to know. Well, I have to thank you since I wasn't able to travel for you and Min picking that torch up. I greatly appreciate it. All right. Are there any other questions, issues?
We've got Anna on the phone too. Hey, Anna.
Oh,
Hi
hey,
there.
Anna.
Hi, just a brief reminder, we're working on the next iteration of the newsletter. So if you have any events that you would like for us to publish, or if you have any stories that you'd like to include, please submit those into the GitHub repo for the newsletter. That's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Actually, Thomas, maybe a short blurb about the NGCM workshop would be cool to have. I mean, it's kind of highlighting. I mean, the newsletter is really about short, quick highlights of things to note, and that was a valuable educational usage. What do you think?
Sure.
If you have the time. If you have the time, also a blog post could work. It's been a while since we've posted anything to the blog. So that it's off, if you want to keep it short to a couple sentences and a link, the newsletter is ideal. If you want to do a larger write-up, then a blog post would be great.
Yeah. What's that?
I think it's probably more a newsletter thing.
Okay. Let me.
And actually,
I don't have that deadline at the tip of my fingers. Let me look for it right now, and I'll email you.
I was just thinking, Anna, that one thing that might be cool to put in the newsletter are actually projects for graduation, because it's not just us who can provide feedback, right? I mean, anyone from the broader community, and the newsletter is kind of a way of messaging out to people who may not hang out on the mailing list all the time. And so mentioning, just mention, oh, we have 2 new projects ready for graduation. These are the two PRs. Just a couple of sentences about Peter and Gino's work on those 2. Unless you folks object, Peter and Gino, would you guys object to having that highlighted in the newsletter?
Not at all.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, it's
just
a way of kind of
a couple of sentences on the topic then would be great.
Yeah, would one of you be able to send Anna? It literally is a few sentences, and one way to do it is to put it as an issue on.
It's Jupyter/newsletter on GitHub. And the deadline for content for the next one is next Tuesday, July 5th.
And so I'll add it on. Oh man, Blue Jeans really kills newsletter. I've added Peter. I added under your heading a little comment with the link, and so it literally could be as simple as just a couple sentences and a link to the 2 PRs, mentioning, oh, the following 2 topics are introduced for graduation, dashboards and declarative widgets, with 1 sentence, and that should be enough.
Okay, cool. Do we just add them as comments right into that newsletter timeline issue I see that's open, or do we open new issues, or just add it to that one? Okay, cool.
Yes. And I'm not sure regarding the amount of content that Katie has for this newsletter. So if it doesn't make it into this one, it'll make it into the next one. It's not time sensitive in any way, is it?
Actually, this one is a little bit more time sensitive. So I would say
it is
the work, because we want feedback, right? And we don't want them to linger for too long. So I would say this one, the UK workshop is less, because that's just reporting that something happened, and if the report that it happened comes later, it's not that big of a deal. This one, I would say, we want it to go out for people to come back with feedback.
Okay, that would go in. It's scheduled to publish at this point at July 20.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Do we
better
have
than the next one.
mini workshop covered in this iteration?
Yes, we're just waiting for the link to register, so we don't want to publish it without a way for people to join.
Oh, there's we won't have a link to register. We'll just put up the. I mean, I guess what we can use is just the link to the hackpad, and we'll just post on the hackpad. We'll update it with the information to join. We're not going to have formal registration. It's just going to be an online thing, basically like one of these calls. Open BlueJeans if you want to join.
Okay.
If you don't want to join,
Okay.
that's fine. We'll post it on YouTube after. So we're not going to have any formal registration whatsoever.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
So what you can use the hackpad link.
Okay.
And that way you don't have to block on waiting for anything else because we'll just update the hackpad.
All right. Sounds
is there
good.
anything else? All right. I guess we can finish. Wow, this BlueJeans managed to eat half of my battery in 25 minutes. This is insane. All right. Well, thanks everyone. See some of you later in the week and some of you next week.
Bye.